Hey, what's up, y'all? This is my first ever YouTube video, and I think the best way to start this off is with an NFL tier list. Now, a little bit about me. My name is James Colsey. I'm a sophomore at Castleton University. I play football. I'm a wide receiver. I've been playing football for a lot, but yeah, I don't want to talk too much about me. I think as I make YouTube videos in the future, I will talk about myself a little bit more and give you guys a little bit more insight of me. But I think right now I want to just make an NFL tier list, and yeah, all my content's going to be about NFL and football, right? I might throw in some NBA, I might throw in just some football things that aren't NFL specifically. But yeah, also if you hear the fan, I'm sorry, this this room has no AC, so I just need a fan to kind of keep cool while I'm doing videos. But yeah, I'm ready to get started. Like and subscribe if you guys want more. But yeah, let's just get into it. So, starting off, right now, I'm gonna just start in alphabetical order, and I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals, right? So, obviously, Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. I think their offense is gonna be decent, right? I think offensively, they could be like a B tier team, right? Maybe can like be an A tier team, just speaking offensively, but defensively, I think they're closer to like a C or a D. So I think Cardinals, I don't expect their offense to be an A tier team. I think they'll probably be mid to low B, and I think their defense is gonna be like, I think the defense is gonna be like a C to like a high D, right? So I'm gonna go C tier for the Cardinals. But yeah, that's just how I feel about it personally. Now, the Falcons. Now, I like the offense for the Falcons. I like all of their weapons. There is still a question mark on Michael Penix Jr. though, and I think that question mark is big enough to drop the offense down some. I think this team ceiling offensively is S tier, right? They have the weapons for it. Their O line is decent enough, but I think Michael Penix kind of being a wild card is making me want to drop their offense to like an A or a B. Now, defensively, their defense is kind of mid, right? I honestly would say like a C tier defense. But I think Michael Penix is gonna have some growing pains. He's been looking very good, so I like that. But I don't feel confident putting the Falcons in A tier, so I'm gonna put Falcons in B tier. Ravens, I'm not gonna even talk too much about that. That's an S tier team. I think they're one of the most complete teams in the league. Off the top of my head, I don't really know who I would put above them as far as a complete roster, but I think offensively, this team's got it, right? I think this team is so good, right? Their biggest weakness on offense is receiver, but I think Zay Flowers can carry enough of the load. I think D-Hop can be a decent number two. And defensively, I think the defense is really good. They have a good D-line. Their linebackers are pretty good. Their corners are a little they're a little iffy, but I think they're good enough to not be a huge liability on that defense. So I actually have the Ravens at S tier. I think that's pretty easy. I'm also gonna say Bills, S tier. Their team is pretty much the same as it was last year. They re-signed a lot of key guys. I know James Cook was a question mark, but he just got re-signed not that long ago. So I don't want to talk too much about the Bills. I'm not gonna talk too much about these S tier teams because we know why these teams are S tier, right? Panthers. I am a Bryce Young. I'm not gonna say I'm a Bryce Young defender, but I'm a Bryce Young optimist, right? I think the second half of the year last year, what Bryce Young did is very encouraging, and I think this offense only got better. And I think the defense was mid, but I think they improved a little bit. Right now, I think since they're in the weak position, I don't think I can put them as a D tier team. I think this team could jump up and be like a surprise division winner, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I think the Panthers are C tier. Right, I'll have the Panthers as C tier, but depending on how the rest of this tier list goes, I might drop them down to D tier. That's just how I'm feeling currently. Now, the Bears are in a weird spot. I think the Bears have a really good team, right? I think the Bears have I don't say like a really good team, but I think their team is good enough to be a playoff team, right? I know Caleb Williams didn't have a great year last year, but I think Ben Johnson coming in and his offensive, his offensive mindset and how he does things and his plays and all that, I think will be very beneficial for Caleb Williams and his offense, right? So I kind of want to put the Bears. I want to put the Bears at B. I think they're in a tough division though, right? I think they're the third best team in this division. but in other divisions they're probably like the second, right? I just think the NFC North is just a really tough division, but I want to say I could see them being in the playoffs, but honestly, I can't. I think the Lions are still going to be too good. I think the Packers are still going to be too good, and I think the NFC is just a really good conference. So I have the Bears at B tier. Bengals. Bengals are an A tier team. This is an S tier offense, but this is like a C or D tier defense. But I think this offense is so good that they can carry this team. I don't know, because the offense was good last year. I can't. I gotta drop them to B tier. I have to. I think this offense is so good, but their defense hasn't changed much from last year, and I think anything, they're probably going to lose guys, right? Trey Hendrickson is still iffy. So I actually have the Bengals at B tier. Their offense was great, and I wanted to put them at A tier, but they didn't even make the playoffs last year, and that was with a great offense and a mid defense. Not even a mid defense, a bad defense. So Bengals are B tier for me. Browns are D tier. I don't know what the Browns are doing offensively, right? Their defense is good, but I think this offense is still going to be, maybe, I don't know. I'm starting to convince myself on D tier a little bit. No, I'm going to leave them at D tier, but I think they're like a high D tier. This is a team that can definitely be a C tier, but I have no playoff aspirations for them. I think they're going to be at the bottom of the division. I think their offense is going to be bad. But I think their defense will keep them in some games that they probably shouldn't be in. But at the end of the day, offense is going to have to score and put points on the board to win those games, and I don't think this offense is going to do enough of that. Now, if Joe Flacco plays, this team could be like a C tier team, but I think more than likely Joe Flacco is probably going to start, but they'll probably want to throw in some of the younger guys. Now, I know they have 5 quarterbacks on the roster. I think it's Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, Shador, and Tyler Huntley. I assume at least 2 of those guys are going to be gone. And especially if it's a younger guy, I think Pickett or Shador / Gabriel, I think they're going to experiment and put them as a starting quarterback at least once or twice, right? So that's kind of how I feel about it currently. But yeah, so Cowboys, I have Cowboys at a C tier team. I think their offense is going to be good, but this defense is horrible. This defense is so bad, and especially with the Michael Parsons drama that's going on right now, I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to make enough stops to be able to make up for a extremely talented offense, but they're still inconsistent. They're still an inconsistent offense, right? This team has the talent to do it. I think their O-line struggles a little bit, but they have playmakers. They have Dak, who can at least get them to, throw the ball out there and do decently well to possibly bring them to a playoff. But the horrible defense is really what's holding them back. And by horrible, I'm talking about specifically the run defense. The pass defense is okay, but the run defense is where they really struggle. So I have the Cowboys at C tier. But I think if Dak gets hurt like he did last year, this is definitely a D tier team. Broncos. The Broncos are a weird team. They stayed pretty much the same as they did last year. But I think Bo Nix, I don't think Bo Nix is going to have a better year than he did this year or last year, right? If it is better, it's going to be by a little bit. And I don't think it's going to be like a crazy good year, right? So I'm going to have the Broncos at B. I think that division's still going to be impossible to win with the Chiefs in there, and even harder because of the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to be a pretty good team as well. So I have the Broncos B tier. I think they're going to be roughly the same record they were last year, 9-8, 10-7, something along those lines. But yeah. Okay. Now, Detroit Lions. I really want to put Detroit Lions at S, and I think I have to. I think this defense is basically the same, right? I think, the defense is basically the same. The offense is basically the same, and they're only going to get better, right? So, I think having the coordinators both leave is going to be tough. I think this team right now is like a low S to high A, but I think they have the talent to still make the playoffs, win the division, and do all of that, right? So that is how I feel about the Lions. I don't really have much to say about them. They've been good for the past couple of years. I think they're still going to be good. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. Packers, I have Packers going A. I think this receiver core is young, but most of them, I think Matthew Golden's going to be the number 3 receiver, and I think Jalen Reed and Christian Watson are going to improve this year, and that connection with Jordan Love is also going to improve. Right now, having Josh Jacobs also back there is going to be great as well, obviously. I mean, we saw how he did last year. And his defense is not that bad either, right? I think this defense is probably like a B tier defense, but this offense is like an A tier offense that can be an S tier offense. And I can say the same thing about the defense. They're B tier, but I think they can be A tier. So that's kind of why I'm settling on Green Bay being an A tier team. But I expect this division to be very complicated. I made a TikTok about it, saying how I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay did win the division, but that's more of like a overreaction versus like a true prediction. But yeah, so Green Bay at A tier. Now, Houston Texans. Houston Texans are weird. I'm not gonna lie. My thing about the Houston Texans is that they're in an easy division, so they should definitely be a playoff team. But I don't know. They were pretty disappointing last year. That offense was a little disappointing. They weren't bad, but they were disappointing, 100%. I know part of it had to do with injuries. I know Tank Dell is also not going to be this year. I heard a rumor that Nico Collins was struggling with something, but I assume that he'll be ready for the season. I like the defense. I don't feel confident putting Texans at A tier. I'm gonna put Texans at B tier. I think Texans are going to make the playoffs by just winning the division, but I can see them being a first round exit, similar to how they've been in years past. Now the Colts, I have the Colts at D tier. I think this Colts team is just, they don't have enough talent, right? Anthony Richardson's been inconsistent, and if it's not Anthony Richardson, it's going to be Daniel Jones, and we know how Daniel Jones is. The O-line is not as good as it used to be. They have decent playmakers, but no one super spectacular. Defense, I can't really name many people on their defense. I know Laitu's there, but I think he's going to improve, but it takes more than one player on the defense to do good. So I have the Colts as a D tier team. I think that's pretty easy. Jaguars. I want to put Jaguars at D tier, but I think they're actually going to be a C tier team. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a good year. I still believe in Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a good year, especially now with Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter being his receivers. I think that's going to help him a lot. I know their O-line is like mid, but I think this offense can be good. I think this offense is probably like a B tier offense, but I know their defense isn't that great. So I can't put Jaguars in B tier because of how bad their defense can be. So I'm putting Jaguars at C tier. But yeah, Kansas City. Now, Kansas City, I think I have to put them at S tier. But with how much age has shown up with like some of their stars, not like Mahomes, but Chris Jones hasn't been as good as he used to be. Travis Kelce obviously hasn't been as good as he used to be. I think those are going to be key guys to watch. But at the same time, I know that the young guys are good and they're going to be even better this year. I expect Xavier Worthy to be good. I expect Rashee Rice to be great. That's it. Like, depending on what his suspension situation is going to be, I know that's supposed to happen like in September during the season. So, but I expect him to be good. I expect Karlaftis to be good. I expect McDuffie to be good. I expect a lot of those young guys to take bigger steps up, and I know McDuffie's already like a top corner in the league, but I expect him to have another good year. So I think by default I have to put the Chiefs at S tier, but yeah, we're gonna have to see. I think S tier for sure. I don't think they'll drop down to A, but I'm not gonna say it's not impossible. Chargers. I have the Chargers at A tier. I almost wanted to drop them to B tier with what happened with Rashawn Slater. But I think their O-line's still going to be okay. And I think Justin Herbert being in the Jim Harbaugh system for another year is going to be great for him. I think Najee Harris is a step up from J.K. Dobbins, and they were still running the ball very well with J.K. Dobbins. So I think having Najee is going to be good. Their defense was good last year, and I don't think there's been too many changes. So I like that. Ladd McConkey is going to be good. I know Keenan Allen's back. He's not going to be like amazing, but I think he's a decent number 2. Okay, maybe not a decent number 2, but I think he can be a serviceable number 2. So I have the Chargers being an A-tier team. I think they'll be second in the division in the AFC West there. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say about them. I think they had a relatively quiet offseason. But I think they're going to be a good team. They're going to be a good team. The Rams. I think the Rams are... I have a lot of teams thinking the Rams... not a lot of teams. I have a lot of people thinking that the Rams are going to be like really good this year. I think the Rams are going to be a B-tier team. I think Matthew Stafford's only getting older, and he's obviously dealing with that back issue, and the season hasn't even started. So if he does play, I mean, he's going to play this season, but if he does play this season, he's not going to play a lot, and I think that's going to hurt the Rams. Now, I like Puka, I like Kyron Williams, I like some of the other defensive guys. What is it? What's his name? I don't know. The end, he just won Defensive Rookie of the Year. I did forget his name. And Brandon Fisk, I think the D tackle. I like their defense relatively, but I think the offense is going to struggle without Matthew Stafford, and I'm expecting Matthew Stafford to miss some time with how I have them ranked. If Matthew Stafford plays the full year, I think this team is an A-tier team, but I don't expect him to play the full year. Raiders, I have as a C-tier team. I think Geno Smith will make the Raiders offense better than it was last year. I think Genty is also going to be a big help. And obviously Brock Bowers is going to be even better. Hopefully Jacoby Myers has a better year as well. But I think this defense is going to struggle. So I can't put them higher than B. But I think this offense is going to be like a B-tier offense. But I think the defense is going to be like a low C to D-tier defense. So I'm putting the Raiders at C. Now, next up is the Miami Dolphins, but I'm actually going to skip them. I want to talk about them at the end because that's my team. But yeah, Vikings. So, the Minnesota Vikings. What do I feel about the Vikings? I think the Vikings are going to be a B-tier team. I think if Sam Darnold had stayed, I would feel more confident putting him at A. But I think with J.J. McCarthy coming in, and I know he's a second-year player, but he didn't play last year, so he's essentially a rookie. And I think with that, there's going to be some growing pains. But I won't be surprised if the Vikings are an A-tier team. But I think with J.J. McCarthy, they're probably going to lose some games that they probably should win, just because rookies, that happens. So I have the Vikings as a B tier. But I think they're like high B, low A kind of team. New England Patriots. I have the Patriots at a C tier. I think Drake May is going to have a really good year. And in comparison to what he did last year, I think having Stephon Diggs will help him, but it's also going to help take attention off of other receivers. Douglas. I think Douglas is going to have a good year. I like their tight ends. Hunter Henry is going to be good. And obviously drafting Will Campbell is going to help that offensive line. And their defense has always been relatively good, so I'm not too concerned about their defense. But yeah, and I know technically their starting running back is Ramondre Stevenson, but I think at some point if Henderson does take some of those reps from Stevenson, I think this team could be even more explosive. But I just don't think this team is fully there yet. They're an exciting team, just to see like what their ceiling could be. But I think this team also has a low floor. So I have them as a C tier, but they're kind of like the middle of C tier. The highest I think they can be is like low B, and then the lowest I think they could be is just D tier. But yeah, Saints D tier. I got 2 words for this team. They're awful. They're awful. Like, the quarterback situation is a mess. Kamara's aging. He's just not looking as good as he used to be. The O-line is also a mess. The defense is also a mess. I can't. Olave, hopefully he plays all year, but he always gets hurt, whether it's a concussion or something else. So I think if he plays all year, maybe this team does better, but this team is just a mess. I'm sorry, Saints fans, but I don't really know what to say for you guys. Giants. I think the Giants are going to be... I don't know, man. Because on one hand, I like their quarterback situation a little bit more, but no, I can't do it. I think the Giants are going to be D tier. I think the Giants team is going to be similar to when Russell Wilson took over as the Broncos quarterback, where they just weren't that great. I don't know exactly why I'm feeling like that, but I just think that's how it's gonna go. I think this team will have some of their some exciting moments, but I think for the most part they're just gonna be bad. I don't think they have the talent to stack up with some of these other teams. Like when I look at these other teams, I think like some of these teams here in C tier, I think these teams, their roster is just more, um, more talented than the Giants defense, the Giants team, right? I think the Giants have a good defense relatively, right? Compared to some of the other teams in the league, they have a good defense, but I think their defense is on par with like the Patriots, and I think their offense is going to be worse than all these other teams that I have in C tier. So yeah, and I think just being in the NFC East is going to be tough for them as well, having to play the Eagles and the Commanders and the Cowboys, and I think they're going to drop most of those games as well. So I think Giants at D tier is a decent ranking. Jets, I have Jets also at C tier. Thing with the Jets is I am a Justin Fields supporter. I think he should have been the starter most of the year for the Steelers, and I do technically have hope for him. Now this is my last year that I'm going to have hope for him because I think this is probably the best situation that he's going to get right now. And if he doesn't do good, then I gotta close the door on that. But I think this Jets team could surprise some people. I think people are thinking that the Jets are going to be like a D tier team, but I can see this team going like 7-10, 8-9 kind of thing. But I don't I think honestly the worst part is their offensive line on offense, and I think defensively the worst part is their linebackers. I think they have a decent secondary. I think their D line is relatively good as well. Offensively, they have good receivers. They have a good running back. I know there's talks about Breece Hall being traded, and it being Ashton Davis and Braylon Allen. And I think those guys are also still going to be good, and I think Justin Fields just being a running threat is also going to help that team as well. So I think this team's going to be like a C tier team. I don't think they'll be as high as B, but I could see them also being as low as D. So yeah. Eagles, S tier. I don't even have anything to say. This team's basically the same. The young guys who are already very good are going to get better. They just won the Super Bowl as well. So I have nothing else to say about the Eagles. They're just S tier. Now the Steelers. I have the Steelers at C tier. I think it's gonna be their average kind of 8 and 9 year. You know what I mean? Or not 8 and 9, 9 and 8 year. But it's gonna be a very disappointing 9 and 8. They're probably gonna win a couple games that they should, drop a couple games that they shouldn't, and maybe surprise some people in some games. I think this team isn't going to make it into the playoffs. Now, this defense is good, right? I think the biggest hole in their defense right now is, you can argue, middle linebacker. But it's tough. I made a video way ago on TikTok saying how I think that now Aaron Rodgers is by far the most important player on that team, because Jaylen Warren as the running back I like. DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, and I don't know who the other receiver is, but I think that's a decent receiving core that you can build around, right? And you can have a game plan around. I think the offensive line is also mid to decent. I think they're okay, right? I like Pat Freiermuth. The D line, obviously it's good. Hayward, TJ Watt. The linebackers I'm a little iffy on, but their secondary, it's not that bad, right? But I think quarterback is going to be that big question. And if Aaron Rodgers can play good enough to lead that team to the playoffs, I think he'll fall just short, and that's why I have the Steelers at C. Now the Seahawks, I have the Seahawks at C. I know people like the Seahawks. I'm actually surprised Sam Darnold went to the Seahawks. I don't think they have the best chance of winning that division, especially because that division is NFC West. So it's San Fran, NFC West. That's San Fran. Why am I NFC West? That's San Fran. It's obviously the Seahawks. I'm blanking on some of these other guys. I don't know why. Either way, I think that. Oh, and it's the Cardinals and the Rams. That's what it is. Cardinals and the Rams. So I think that this team will probably be under the Rams. Again, assuming that Matt Stafford plays most of the season. I think if Matt Stafford is down, then I would probably switch the Rams with the Seahawks. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very close race in this NFC West. Because I don't think the Seahawks have the most talented roster out of all these teams. I would argue that their roster is more comparable with the Cardinals. I think the Seahawks have a better quarterback. I think they have a better running back, but even then you could argue that the running backs are relatively the same. I think the receiving core, that's the receivers and tight ends. I think the Cardinals have, I would say the Cardinals definitely have a better tight end, but the Seahawks have a better receiver group. So it's kind of like 50-50 for me there. O-line, I'm going to be honest, I have no clue, but I almost want to say it's probably going to be the Seahawks O-line. I think their O-line is decent, and defensively, I think the Seahawks have a better defense, but I think it's not that far from the Cardinals. So I think this team is going to be a C-tier team, but they'll probably be like 9-8. Now, San Fran, I have San Fran as a B-tier team. I have this team as a B-tier because... yeah, I had this team at B tier because they lost a good amount of guys. I think Brock Purdy is going to play well. I think losing Debo is going to hurt them a little bit more than people expect it to. I think Brandon Ayuk still trying to come back from the injury is also going to be tough. I expect Ricky Pearsall to be good. I expect Jawan Jennings to also be good. Their O-line is like decent enough. They get the job done. But the defense is also really good. I don't know. Actually, I changed my mind. I think San Fran will be an A-tier team. I think they were just really hurt by injuries last year. And I think if they're healthy, this team will be an A-tier team for sure. They don't have that many holes in this team. Bucks, I have Bucks as A-tier. They're going to win the NFC South. And I think this team is... I think Baker Mayfield's really good. I think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, when they come back, are going to be good. But even having Emeka Egbuka, I think that's how you say his name. I think him as a number 3 is also going to be really good for them. And I think this defense plays well as well. I think the offense is definitely going to carry. I would say this offense is like low S tier to like mid to high A tier. I'm excited for Bucky Irving for sure. But anyway, defensively, I think they're like a mid B to like a high C. But I think they're probably closer to B, and I think this offense is closer to like a high A. So I have the Buccaneers at A tier. Titans. I have the Titans at D tier. I like Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is going to do the best that he can with the situation that he's in. But I just don't think there's enough talent on that team. This has nothing to do about Cam Ward. It's just the talent on the team, and I think they're going to struggle. Yeah, I think they don't expect to win anything this year, but I think next year they're probably gonna have better expectations for this team or for their season. The Commanders, I have the Commanders at a B tier. I think last year was, I don't want to say a fluke year, but I think this team did better than they were supposed to, right? And I forget exactly what the record was. They were either 10-7 or 11-6. And I remember when I read up a video and I said that they kind of had a fluke year. People were talking about like, oh, how are you going to say it's a fluke? How are you going to say it's a fluke when they won this many games? And that's true, but one of those wins was also on a Hail Mary. There's another game that they won like last second. And don't get me, like clutch is clutch. You know what I mean? But there are some times where to be clutch, you also have to be lucky to even be in that situation in the first place. And I think that plays a part in it as well. I think this Commanders team is going to either play relatively the same as they did last year, or they're going to lose like a game or two. So I see them being as B tier. I don't really have too much to say about them as well, but that's kind of how I feel. Now, my team, my Miami Dolphins. I want to put this team... I'm going to put this team B tier. The reason why I'm going to put them B tier is because I think this offense is going to be really good. I think Tua, and I know people hate Tua, but the thing is, we have had, I think, 5 or 6 quarterbacks. Since Tua's been here, we've had 5 or 6 other quarterbacks in this system. We've had Skylar Thompson, we've had Mike White, not much, but we've had Zach Wilson, but I won't even count him, right? We had Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I don't think he was here when Mike McDaniels was here, so we're still at 2. We had Teddy Bridgewater. We had Tyler Huntley. And someone played for us last year. I don't remember his name, but we've had many quarterbacks come in absence of Tua, and they've all played bad. And when Tua goes in, the offense just looks way different. So I think this offense with Tua, I think it's A-Chain, or maybe it's Achan. I don't fully know, but I'm gonna call him A-Chain. Tua and A-Chain and Waddle and Hill. I think this team is going to be really good offensively. Defensively is where I think we'll struggle. I think offensively we're like an A-tier offense, but I think defensively we're like a C-tier. So that's kind of why I feel like I want to put the Dolphins at B. I expect the Dolphins to be better than the Patriots and the Jets, but definitely not as good as the Bills. One change I do want to make is I only want to have 4 teams up here in S tier, right? So I'm going to drop one of these teams down, and it's going to be an AFC team. And if I had to drop an AFC team, I'm going to put the Bills at A tier. Only reason I'm putting the Bills at A tier is because out of the other 3 AFC teams, I think this team has the weakest roster. But yeah, it's nothing really. I think the Bills team is basically an S tier, but me personally, I would rather have 2 AFC teams and 2 NFC teams at S tier. But yeah, this is my tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you guys want more. I'm going to be making other tier list videos. I'm going to be making season prediction videos as well. So be on the tune for that, or be on the lookout for that. I also make TikToks as well. I'll put that in the description below, my Instagram and everything like that. But yeah. Yeah, first YouTube video. I'm excited. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.